Hi, I'm Mark, and today I want to talk about the discussion of a reform for the forming of a government in Northern Ireland. Forming governments in Northern Ireland is indeed difficult, but both former conflicting parties should still be involved on an equal footing. And the American president is proud of his Irish roots. We all saw this week, and his visit to Belfast was an attempt to get the frozen political fronts moving again. Joe Biden often likes to emphasize that his ancestors once emigrated from Ireland to the New World. Even as a senator, he campaigned for peace in Northern Ireland. The Good Friday Agreement, which has just celebrated its 25th anniversary, came about with the active help of American politicians. Against this background, Biden's short visit to Belfast seemed like a great encouragement to continue along the path that was set in 1998. In his speech at a university in Belfast, the president consistently emphasized the importance of a stable, democratic, and functioning regional government. The ears of the representatives of the Unionist hardliners in the audience must have ringed at these words in particular. It is they who refuse to form a government. They are denying not only Biden's reading, but not least their own voters the chance of secure prosperity. The framework agreement between Great Britain and the EU on Northern Ireland's trade with the EU and the internal market on the one hand and the British internal market on the other hand actually only has to be filled with life. And Unionists know that too. However, they fear that the political skins will swim away completely due to the demographic change. Due to their blockade, however, they run the risk of bringing about their horror scenario, and they do that themselves. He was very careful. US President Joe Biden avoided anything that might have upset the pro-British Democratic Unionist Party, the DUP, in his speech at the Ulster University in Belfast, because he was just there to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement. But as far as the reinstatement of the institutions resulting from the agreement, which the DUP has been boycotting for well over a year, is desirable, it's a matter for Northern Ireland alone. But DUP chiefs anyway don't believe Biden. And why? From their point of view, the mistrust of the US president is well founded, because he likes to flaunt his Irish roots while making his flying visit to Northern Ireland like a chore. It lasted just 15 hours. But Biden isn't the DUP's problem at all. Local elections are due on May 18th, and the poll numbers aren't good. Many voters are turning to the even more extreme Unionist parties. The split in this camp last year meant that the Irish nationalist Sinn Féin became the strongest party in Northern Ireland. And in addition, Sinn Féin is also well ahead of the other parties in polls in the Republic of Ireland. A Sinn Féin government in both parts of Ireland that could force Irish unification is kind of a boogeyman for Unionists. The DUP needs an election victory in May to put pressure on British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to revise the Windsor framework he agreed with Brussels at the end of February. Because this plan provides for Northern Ireland to still remain in the EU internal market and in the customs union. An end to the DUP boycott is therefore not expected before the local elections. So is a reform of the Belfast Agreement due, requiring power sharing between Catholics and Protestants? Certainly, some aspects need to be revised so that the parties that do not belong to either side of the conflict have more influence. The political landscape and society have changed over the past 25 years, but the rules laid down in the agreement have not. However, it is indeed too early to introduce normal majority rule in Parliament until there is a rapprochement from both sides, given that Northern Ireland suffered under the dictatorship of the Unionist majority for 3/4 of a century, which eventually led to armed conflict. And as tempting as it sounds to turn the tables and install the government without DUP involvement, it would be foolish to do so, as there are plenty of guns buried somewhere in Northern Ireland. I made a ton of videos on that, and that is something we should not want to see. And I'll see you in my next video. I'll be back.